Hello, my name is Delaney, and I am a marine mammal specialist at the Wildlife World Zoo Aquarium and Safari Park.
Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to the Rossifari podcast. Y'all, I am so excited to be bringing a return guest to the podcast this week. My good friend Delaney Sevchik is going to be here to talk about a kind of cool expansion of her role at the zoo that she works at. So, if you don't recognize the name, Delaney is one of the sea lion trainers at Wildlife World Zoo Aquarium and Safari Park, right outside of Phoenix, Arizona. And I have spent a lot of time there working with the team, volunteering with the team. I've done multiple interviews with members of the team. We've gotten dinner together. It's a whole thing. They are some of my favorite humans in this entire zoological world that I've gotten involved in. And Delaney is just a really, really special person. She's an incredibly talented and gifted trainer, very intelligent, very compassionate, just a wonderful all-around human. And she is now serving as the face of Wildlife World. If you go on social media to their pages, you will definitely see her. She is kind of the spokesperson or the front person of the zoo now. And so we talk a lot about that role. Of course, we start off talking about the different, things catching up on all of the animals over at Shipwreck Cove there. The sea lions, the otters, the capybaras, the burbs, all the things. But then we talk a lot about being forward-facing and some of the challenges and some of the positives of that role. So I'm really excited to have Delaney back here to share her with you all again. And so we'll get to that interview in just a moment. But before we do, a couple of quick reminders. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of these Tuesday interview episodes or Friday Zoo News episodes. Make sure you're following along on the socials at Rossifari, at Rossifari Pod on the TikTok machine. And don't forget that you can support the podcast for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. So without further ado, here is my interview with Delaney Sevchik of Wildlife World. Yay! Welcome back to the podcast. It is good to have you back.
Ooh, I'm excited to be back.
I'm sad that we're doing it digitally this time, though, Normally we're sitting in a stadium and there are sea lions.
I know. You need to come back to the zoo. When are you going to come back out?
Oh, man, my year's booking out and nothing is happening in Phoenix. It's making me so sad. I've been lucky once to twice a year the last couple of years, and now nothing.
Boo.
I know.
Yeah, you need to come out. And then this next time you come out, you need to meet the penguins.
Yeah, penguins, and I got to meet Jellybean. And I was actually talking to Morgan about possibly trying to do some drumming with some animals and see how they would react or what they would think. I'd be curious to see what the sea lions would do. I mean, there's some interesting thoughts, so...
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I feel like the sea lions would be like, what is this guy doing? I feel like also, believe it or not, the animals that I think that would interact the most out of the animals that I work with are the penguins. And the reason I say that is because on holidays, I wear a headband, like a special holiday-themed headband. And every time I wear it when we go do the penguin feeds, they look up at me like, what is on your head? So they might like the drumming.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely a fun idea. So yeah. I wonder what the otters would do.
I feel like they'd try to help you drum.
Yeah. I feel like there could be a moment there,
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what they would do, honestly. They'd probably just like sit there and stare at you. I feel like we've done enrichment with them where we have a tambourine. Is that a tambourine? The one that the obviously I'm very musically inclined, but the one that you shake.
Yes, you have a tambourine. I have worked with that enrichment with you guys. You have a tambourine. Yes.
Yes.
I could have cut you off like a minute ago. I was just enjoying watching you falter.
You were going to let me go through that. That's fine. It's okay. I get it. Listen, I know a lot about animals. I don't know a lot about music. So, but we've done enrichment with them before with the tambourine, and they just kind of sit there and just stare at you. And they're like, "What are you doing?" It's really cute. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm test it out.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like we have a lot of animals that would be interested.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, because I mean, we're saying this in a fun kind of silly way, but at the same time, one of the things that your team does so effectively is make sure that your animals are prepared for anything and aren't afraid of things, right? That is a big thing. You train resiliency in everything that you do. And I've been there, and I've been part of the conversations where we talk. I remember the one day when Krista was like, I want everyone to come up with 5 things to do with the traffic cone. And I was like, what? All right, cool. And like just thought processes like that. I think that's so great for the animals in your care, you know? And
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And Krista does a good job at, I feel like, creating those scenarios for us trainers so that we can think outside of the box and think of ways that we can enrich our animals without doing the same things over and over again. Like, it is so easy to get a Kong and throw some fish in it and be like, oh, that's a forage feeding enrichment for our sea lions. But going outside of the box and doing things that you wouldn't typically do or think about. It's harder than it seems. So Krista's really good at, I feel like, setting up those scenarios and figuring out ways we can enrich our animals.
Yeah, definitely. And I know some of the team is too. I remember when I was there, we'd have these conversations about like theming enrichment, and then give it to the otters who would ignore it and be like, we spent 20 minutes working on that.
Yes, I remember. So for our enrichment for our otters, we switch it out every single day in the morning, and we have bins that we prep beforehand, and each bin is kind of themed. So people can kind of have creative freedom with it. And sometimes, it can be, enrichment that would stimulate some sort of natural behavior. And sometimes it's just for fun. And I remember I was making the bins for the week, and I did Barbie Dream House theme. And so I said, as you're cleaning, you have to play I'm a Barbie Girl. And that is the only song that can be played. And then everything in the bin was pink.
That's amazing.
That's very neat. And I remember she works actually now at the Phoenix Zoo, but Emily Gallo was the one who did the cleaning that day. And she goes, I don't know who made this bid, but it was fantastic.
I was going to say, of all the people to be doing the cleaning, Emily is someone who would commit to the bit 110%.
100%.
That's amazing. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So before we get into what we're actually going to talk about today, a lot of people are very invested in the team and have followed my time out there and you guys and everything. So what's going on with the Shipwreck Cove people and animals, and what's new and what's going on?
Yeah, we have actually just added 2 new trainers to our team. So now that we have taken on penguin encounters, we added 1 more person. So Elizabeth came from another facility. She's one of our newer trainers. And then Brianna was actually one of our former interns who we hired on. She worked in the aquarium, and then we stole her from the aquarium, and now she's in our department.
Yeah, Bri was there when I was there. I mean, I love her. She's amazing. Bri's actually fantastic. The person who I remember the 2 of us in a shack figuring out theming that we then took to the otters that they completely ignored. And like the amount of thought that went into it, again, was just ridiculous, and the otters did not care. But we were very proud of ourselves.
Yes. And that sounds like Bri. I feel like she puts 110% into everything she does, including the enrichment for the animals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm obsessed with her. I think she is a wonderful person. As soon as I knew she was in the aquarium, and I messaged her after however long, because time is very weird when you live my life. And I was like, how's the aquarium? And she's like, I'm over at Cove now. And I was like, whoa. And I know that's what she wanted. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to have her. Her and Elizabeth have been great additions to the team. And it's really cool, too, because now that we're incorporating penguins into our day-to-day basis, they are very knowledgeable on penguins, both have experience with it. Bri's experience is through, of course, the aquarium. And then Elizabeth worked with penguins at her last facility. So they have been a great asset to our team in regards to the knowledge that they bring with our new animals that we work with.
That's awesome. I love that. So, what type of penguins do you guys have there? I mean, I know, but for the people doing the
we have African black-footed penguins, and we have 14 individual penguins in our colony, and they all have their very unique personalities. And it's so funny because I had no penguin experience until I started working with them, but I have grown to love them so much. You go in and every day is different with them. And I feel like that's how it is with every single animal, but it's just, they're so much fun to work with, and they have the best personalities, and they love the enrichment that you do with them. So that helps. It makes us feel good that we're doing the right thing.
Definitely. No, 100%. I volunteered at Aquarium of Niagara, as you know, and for the first basically 2 years I was there, I worked a lot with our Humboldt penguins, which are also banded penguins, so very similar animals, different part of the world, but otherwise similar animals. And always something different. I did a ton of encounters with people. Again, whenever you would put out enrichment, it would actually be used, which was pretty awesome.
Definitely.
Now that I'm working with fish and invertebrates, sometimes I drop an enrichment and it goes past the school of fish, and I'm like, oh, we're done. Okay.
Yeah. My favorite is with the sea lions, when you have a whole plan out and then it just does not hit the mark, and they're like, yeah, we don't care for that at all. I love the animals that actually like to participate in the enrichment that we do with them.
Yeah, it feels good. Cool. But so that's not actually what we're here to talk about today, although I'm always happy to. But you've taken on a new role at the zoo. And it's a very different, very front-facing role. And I have lots of thoughts and curiosities about it. So explain to people what this is.
Yeah, so I don't really have like a title, so to say. I'm still a marine mammal specialist at the Wildlife World Zoo, but I was approached by Christy and Mickelin to see if I would be interested in essentially being the face of our social media. So they asked me, kind of backtrack a little bit. We hired through an outside company. His name is Will. He has a whole company, but the guy who actually does the editing, his name is Will. He comes out and films a bunch of content for the zoo. And then they wanted somebody to essentially be, the face of social media. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that. And then I'm essentially somebody that can connect Will to all the keepers so that we can get this important educational content out while engaging our guests and hopefully getting people out to the zoo. So I kind of took that role on in the beginning of January, and content started rolling out in February, and it's been a lot of fun. I feel like I've learned so much from it already. And it's definitely not a realm I thought I would enjoy as much as I do.
No, but I do think that's really cool. And we've talked a lot about this just in social media and stuff, and on messaging and texting and all the things, because obviously this is an area that I'm good at and know a lot about. And I genuinely think you're a really great person for this role. You shine when you talk about animals, and you get excited about the people there, and that's all very important. I think it's been really cool to watch you do that. What has the learning curve been like for you?
I think personally, the learning curve is just having a camera in front of me and just talking like a normal person. I watched some of the videos. So the content, we planned it out beforehand, and January we spent a lot of time, and I mean like 5 or 6 days out of January, just straight filming content.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so we have, the idea was to create a database for us to be able to pull from and use for other content pieces. And so we were essentially creating a database for our social media content, and we wanted to have things rolling out starting at the beginning of February. And so it's funny because connecting with the keepers was not necessarily hard, but we don't really have like a solid form of communication between all keepers. Like there's no group chat or anything, because we have a ton of keepers here. And so the best way to communicate anything is through the lead keepers. And so, I think that was a hard part for me, was figuring out how to communicate with everybody, like where they are through a day. And, everybody has so many things that need to get it done in a day, has a lot of animals that they have to care for and enrich and feed and clean. And so having to figure out how to work around their schedules, but also get the content that we need, it was hard. So with that being said, when we first started filming, we did a lot of the things that I know we can film. So the sea lions, the otters, the penguins, we did all of that stuff first. Got that content filmed before we started going over to the zoo side and to our education department where our wildlife encounter shows are. But it's really funny to watch the content that I first filmed and then watch I feel like the public wouldn't necessarily understand which content is the newer and which is the older content because it is spread out randomly. Right. So I see posts from when I filmed back like the first time we filmed in January. And then I see posts from when we filmed like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, holy cow, just the way I articulate my words has changed so much over time. And I feel like another big, learning curve for me, other than the communication with the keepers, was the way I word things, because I catch myself saying the same things over and over and over again. And one thing that I keep doing it. I'm like, oh, and you'll get a little chance or a little bit close, or come get a chance to get up close and personal with this animal. And I'm like, why am I saying this 10 million times? It's going to be said in every single post. And then people are like, okay, we get it. We can get up close and personal with the animals at the zoo. So
let me stop you for a second here, right? I go through the same thing. I talk for almost 2 hours a week on this podcast between zoo news and these interviews, right? Now, granted that the interview is talking both people, but I say the same stuff over and over and over again. And I catch when I'm editing it, a lot of times when I'm transitioning to the next question, I don't want silence. So I'll be like, cool, great, cool, very good, cool. So, and no one cares. Like, we all do that naturally. It's only when you stop and analyze yourself that you realize it. I promise you, people that are watching minute-long videos as they're scrolling through TikTok or scrolling through Reels on Instagram aren't going to be like, oh my God, that blonde said the same thing again. I promise you, you're okay.
Oh, well, that does make me feel better, because I watch these videos back and I'm like, why did I say it like that? Or I look at the way I word things and I'm like, I could have said that so much better than how I said it. But the thing is I do so many takes, and the outtakes of these media posts are going to be crazy. Will and I have already talked about it. Actually, Will has already talked about it. He is going to create a whole video just on my outtakes. So the amount of times it takes me to do one video, I'm like, sometimes I just got to roll with it. And the way I word it is the way I word it.
Yep. Well, and that was actually the next thing I was going to ask, is any of this scripted, or do you just roll with it?
A lot of the times I roll with it. There are some things that I have kind of created a script for beforehand. A lot of the important things where I want to make sure all my information is as accurate as possible, where I'm making sure that the educational material is exactly how other facilities are portraying it. I will make sure I do my research, and I'll create essentially a script for me to go based off of. But a lot of it is unscripted. Will and I will kind of, right before we start filming that specific post, we'll kind of talk about what we want to say, where we want to go with it. And then I'll kind of just have free reign and just start talking. And a lot of times it'll be good. And then sometimes it'll be a huge flop and we'll be like, that was terrible. Let's retake that.
That's awesome, though. And I think that's the best way to do it, because more and more, one of the things that I've learned about social media in particular right now is that people want authenticity. They don't want heavily edited videos. They don't want everything perfect. They want some ums left in, all that kind of stuff. They want to know who you are, which again leads to the thing that I texted you the other day. You need to introduce yourself and tell people who you are, because you introduce everyone else and you're supposed to be the face of this place, but people will want to connect with Delaney, right? And you don't have to say your whole thing. You don't have to explain your name and title and age and, marital status and whatever every time that you do it. But you do have to be like, hey guys, it's Delaney. And because they will get to know you. And if you watch, Tanganyika, Lindley is really good at that. Lindley is the face of Tanganyika. And just drops a quick, hey guys, Lindley here. Sometimes doesn't say it, usually does. But as soon as that face pops up, you're like, oh, That's Lindley. Now I'm invested not just in Tanganyika, but I'm invested in Lindley. And you want people to be invested in Delaney. This is something that I really struggled with because I have a lot of issues with confidence and body dysmorphia and all kinds of stuff. And so it's easy with the podcast because it's not video. But when I put myself out there on social media, and especially when you have stuff go viral, these things that 300 million people have viewed, or even the smaller, but the 5 million, 1 million, whatever. And you think that's, oh gosh, but look at my gut sticking out there. Oh my gosh, why did I make that weird face? Or like you said, why did I say that phrase 3 times in 30 seconds? It can be scary, but people actually feel like they get to know you. One of the most interesting things, and I know a podcast is a little different, but one of the most interesting things was early on, I never talked about myself. I thought I was the least interesting thing about Rossifari. And people started reaching out to me and being like, I want to hear more about you. Why aren't you including this? Or like sometimes in an interview, I'd be like, oh yeah, and I was at the zoo last week, whatever. And they're like, well, talk about that. And so I started putting in a segment every Friday at the beginning of Zoo News where I catch people up on my life. And sometimes it's as chill as, hey guys, not much going on. And other times it's, you know me, I'm flitting around the country playing the drums and going to zoos and doing all kinds of cool stuff. And, it varies greatly, week to week, but people really connect to that. And I've had people tell me they know they don't have time to listen to the whole episode, but they listen to the beginning just to see what I'm up to, And you are way more interesting than I am. You are a sea lion trainer. You have the coolest job. I am jealous of you.
I disagree.
I want to come play with you guys more.
You go to so many facilities and have so much fun and travel the world or travel the country. I'm jealous. I wish I was you.
I mean, we could trade for a week. How are you at drumming?
There you go.
You got this? You got this?
I played the viola for a tiny bit. I stopped for a reason.
Fair.
There's not much going on in that realm for me.
Fair.
Like I said, I know a lot about animals, music.
Oh, right. You forgot what a tambourine was. Maybe you shouldn't be a professional drummer for a week.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh my gosh. No, but that's really cool. I love that you're doing this. And, I have told you that I will be your biggest cheerleader in your career and especially in this and in everything. Because I genuinely think that you can go as far in this career as you want to. And I really think that one of the hardest things about being a marine mammal trainer is that you have to have 2 sides to yourself. There's the training, which is both an art and a science, and is the animal stuff, and is honestly more than for most zookeepers away from the public because you spend so much time working with the animals and training the animals that it's really cool. When I spend time out there with you guys, we are with the animals a lot. And then I'll go shadow another keeper or I'll go and volunteer, doing stuff. And it's like, you're with the animals some, but you're doing a lot of cleaning and you're doing a lot of other stuff. And, so you guys have that. But then at the same time, you also have the public facing thing. You do the presentations. You're out there talking to crowds. And that's a hard thing to balance for most people, and I think you're doing great at it.
Well, I appreciate that. I think, speaking of that is probably one of my favorite parts of the job is being able, that's why we do it. That is why we have marine mammals in the state of Arizona, is to inspire and educate the guests on ocean conservation and connect them with these amazing animals. And so, yes, we are very forward facing, but that is the best part of the job. And that's the right reason why we do it.
Yeah. And I love that. And I really do. And I mean, I'm as passionate about it as anyone.
Yes, absolutely.
There have been times that you guys had me interpreting, training sessions and had to call me away because the training session was done and I was still talking.
Yes. Oh, when we were in with the capybaras. Yeah, I remember it. I remember it.
John, we're done. We're going. What?
We're done. Yeah. We're actually going back to the sea lions now.
Yeah. Whoops. But
I love it.
So here's the other side of all of this though. And I know you're still kind of new to this. And one thing that is good, and I think unless you want to become an influencer in your own right in terms of your own account and everything, it's good that they're not tagging you. It's good that unless you want to go that route, right? But have you started to encounter any of the negatives of this world yet?
So not crazy,
okay.
But I have gotten my personal account DM'd already. And it was about something that I am not a part of at all in regards to the zoo. And
can you say what it was? I mean, if you can't, it's fine, but
I can't go too much into depth about it. But I did get a DM, a personal DM on my personal account, and it's crazy because so I'm public. People can follow me as they will, and I have nothing to hide. I don't care who follows me. My goal is to be myself and, post my animals and do my own life. But with that being said, the public accounts, if people DM you and you don't follow them back, it goes into your requests, like DMs or something like that. I rarely ever look at that. I'm never, ever, really ever on Instagram as is on my personal account, at least. Well, I am, but it's to post the zoo stuff or stuff from my animals.
Right.
I don't remember the last time I actually posted for my birthday, but besides the point. I don't remember the last time I posted on social media, but I did post for my birthday with our amazing otters. But besides the point.
And even that, though, it's animals. It's still... You're still doing the thing, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My account is ocean or animals. There's no in between. It's one of the two of them. But anyways, I don't look at it ever. And I got a comment on my birthday post, and it was from this random account who had followed me maybe a day or two prior. And I saw the account, didn't know them, didn't follow them back. And they commented, "Hey, look at your DMs when you get a chance." And I was like, that's weird. Because, sometimes they get those spam accounts that are like, DM me if you're interested in blah, 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 blah.
Oh, so trust me, I know.
So I got that. And I was like, interesting. Let me go check my DMs to see if it's something important. And it was in my requests. And it was something about something with the zoo that I am not a part of at all. And I was very confused, sent it to my social media person. She goes, "Oh, that's very interesting. I just wouldn't reply." And I was like, okay, perfect. I'm just going to leave it. Wasn't necessarily anything negative. But I don't think I was expecting to have my personal account messaged or DM'd in any way. So I'm very fortunate that I haven't gotten any negative aspects of it. But I am already starting to get more than what I was expecting.
Yeah. No, and I mean,
if that makes sense.
Oh no, 100%. And like I said, you haven't really introduced yourself to the world yet, and maybe you don't want to because of that. But you're a pretty girl doing a fun thing. People are absolutely going to be weird with you. People are weird as hell with me. I've talked about it on here a lot. I've talked to you about it. You know the stories, and I've shared them with my listeners. But some of them are great. Some of them are, I've got people that I consider true friends who just reached out and I was in the mood to chat and now we're friends and it's cool. I've had some creepy stalkery type people. It's the gamut, and you can't be afraid to block and you can't be afraid to, it's a tough line. But as you get bigger and as more people see it, I mean, I also know, and my guess is that your social media person will protect you from this. But, I know at other facilities there have been, and it's always girls. Sorry. Just girls aren't as creepy with guys on there as guys are with girls. It's just the truth. But who won't do social media anymore because every time they do, they get a whole bunch of, whoa, what up? Where'd that girl at? Let me get up in her DM, stuff like that, these comments. And it's that's not how you're going to pick someone up. Even if you want a shot at this person, that's not how it's going to work, right?
Yes.
It's the modern equivalent of dudes honking at a pretty girl and driving away. What's she going to do? Take off her heels and run after the car?
Run after you, yes.
Thank you. Right? Come on. But it's a thing.
I will say, it is a thing. And I will say that the DM that I got was not in that realm at all. It was something related to the zoo. But again, I'm not part of any of what it was about. So I just I'm not going to reply. I'm going to leave it as is. And then if something happens with it, something happens with it. I'm the face of social media, but I'm going to leave it. And my social media person told me not to reply, so I'm not going to reply.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I'm going to take her advice.
Yeah, no, that's very smart. I'm glad that you have someone protecting you. Because I will say, I've talked about it on here a lot, but being the face of something, especially when it gets a lot of views, it's weird. It's good. It's bad. It's wonderful. It's horrible. I am so proud of everything I've been able to do with it. But there are moments where I'm like, F this, like 100%, like I'm just Rossifari is done now. And it's only for a minute and then it's fine. And then like somebody sends me a cute picture of a red panda and I'm like, oh no, we back. Okay. But I love that. I keep saying this, but I love that you're doing this. Now, I am curious about something. I only know you as a sea lion esque trainer. Obviously, we've got otters and maybe a really cool bird or, you know, an awesome duck and some cappies. I don't know. But I don't know you as an animal person in general. So what is your like general knowledge base and how much research do you have to do if you're going to go and talk about the incredible binturongs that you have there one day? And then, you know, oh my God, the birds that y'all have in that collection.
Oh, we have so many birds.
Just the Turacos make me happy. Like there are more Turacos there than like anywhere, right? It's incredible. So how much, and I know that you said you check your facts, but there's a difference between being comfortable and just double checking something and finding out that you are going to be talking about a melanistic jaguar the next day and not knowing anything about big cats. So where are you at with all of that?
Yeah. So it's funny you asked that because I feel like that's somewhere that I'm still learning in that realm. A lot of the information that I get is either directly from the keepers themselves. Well, let me kind of back up. I shouldn't say the information that I get. Everything that I know about animals, I have been told from somebody who works directly with them. So whether it is, what's a good one? Oh, something, the giraffes and the browse that they eat. I heard this from Keeper Britt over in our safari area. She works with the giraffes over her children. And she was telling me that they will eat browse that we can harvest from around the zoo. I mean, you know, the zoo has trees everywhere. But during the wintertime, some of that browse is not available. But what they'll do is they'll do something called, I don't remember the exact term for it, but essentially give them...
Is it silage? Okay.
No, it was something like... Oh, what was it? I don't remember the exact term she called it, but it's essentially just giving them sticks and it does the same thing. So it's small tidbits like that I've learned through my 2.5 years of being here as a zookeeper, employee of the Wildlife World Zoo. Also through I did a lot of work with our kids camp and I worked directly with the keepers through that kids camp. And I feel like I learned a lot just from the keepers, I felt like I was a kid in the kids camp from learning so much from them. And I feel like even just, you know, watching animal documentaries, learning about animals that way. But I feel like that is the realm that I'm not as confident in as I could be or should be in the realm of social media. So it's, I appreciate you asking this question because it is somewhere that I struggle a little bit with in regards to creating this content is because like you said, I only work with a select few animals. I don't work with a ton of animals around the zoo. So with that being said, my goal of, you know, being this face of social media is to connect with the keepers and hopefully get them to talk about their animals because they know so much about their animals and they care so much about their animals. And not saying that I don't care about animals. I love animals. There's a reason why I'm a keeper myself. But when you work directly with that species, you have a different level of education and understanding of them. And when you know their personalities and you know, care for them every single day, you create that connection, which when you talk about it on a screen, it shows how much the keepers care about their animals, creates a character for that animal, and then creates an emotional connection to the audience that you are trying to connect with. And so I feel like, you know, I can do my best to do as much research as I can on these specific species, but it is so much better coming from the people that directly work with them. Now, there are some people who don't want to be on camera. I'm not going to force somebody to be on camera if they don't want to be on camera. But if they can help me by connecting the audience with the animals that they work with, by telling me these fun facts or telling me about their personalities, it helps me to be able to create that connection with our audience.
I mean, you literally just described what I do, like 100%, right? Like I want to talk about Crockett, but I want to talk about Crockett with you because even though I've spent a lot of time with Crockett, you know more about Crockett than I do, and you have a better relationship with Crockett. And even though you sometimes get confused and don't actually know which of the sea lions that you take care of is the best, and we definitely don't fight about that all the time.
Not at all. Nope. Not at all. It's Makara. It's Makara.
You said Junior wrong. I'm just going to edit you so it sounds like you said Junior. Just do me a favor. Say the name Junior really quick so I can just edit it in there. No, not falling for it.
Lips sealed, lips shut, throwing away the lock.
I love that there's literally like half the time we text, we get into this fight. It's amazing.
Yes, every time. Every time. I seriously don't think there's been a single conversation where we haven't had this conversation.
You're probably right. We were actually, when we were talking last night, I literally was like, oh my God, how did we get into this? It's amazing. But
whether it's you replying to an Instagram story or just texting, it's always there.
Yeah,
Makara is always the best.
Junior is always the best. We agree. So
listen, we're not supposed to have favorites, but sometimes we do, okay?
Well, it's a rule on the podcast. You have to admit that you have favorites because you're lying if you say you don't.
Yes, I agree.
You know, I have three dogs. Junior... I love them all dearly, but one of them is my favorite. It's Buzz. Everyone knows it. I can even arguably say that Paradiddle is a better dog. Like, just is more what you would want if you want a dog in life. But I don't give a crap. Buzz is my dog. You know what I mean?
Yes. And listen, I'm not saying I'm a Junior hater. I love Junior just as much, but he already has people who are he's his favorite. Okay. So Makara needs just as much love.
Fine. Makara is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, they're all pretty great. Let's be honest.
My boss, Krista, the director of the Sea Lion department, her favorite is Junior. That's already got his boosting his ego. We need to get Makara up there too.
That just proves that I'm right. I mean, no, but seriously, so I completely love your take on this, and I agree with you. You will be shocked at how much you learn doing this, because I'm shocked at what I know about animals now. And I've gone from the point where I used to, if I was going to post something, I would double, triple, quadruple check it. Now I might occasionally, but generally I know what I'm talking about. And I've heard it from brilliant experts, you know, which is incredible. Right. So
I'm excited to get to that stage where I just know everything there is to know about animals. And like, I do know a lot about animals. I know a lot about the animals that I work with. I know a lot about animals that I don't work with, but there are, so, I mean, you know this, there are so many animals, so many species out there. And whether it is, you know, a hissing cockroach all the way up to a rhino, you know, there's so many things you can learn about each individual species. Not one person is going to be able to know everything. So I'm excited to get to the point where I can, you know, create that connection myself.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that you're striving for is to connect with individual animals, which is even harder because, as Wildl always says, training is a study of one, behavior is a study of one. It's the whole thing is that every animal is unique, right? You and I are two wildly different people, but we're the same species. Your needs and my needs are not the same. You don't go crazy if you don't see a red panda or a tree kangaroo once a week, you know? I struggle. So, like, we have our things. But if I see
Makara, I will.
Right, yeah, fair, yeah. And if you see a tambourine, you'll get scared and run away because you don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. We need. But I think it's such a cool thing because one of the things that I stumbled into with Rossifari it was a mistake. It was, or not a mistake. It just wasn't planned, but it worked out so well. Is that because I didn't make it a species specific podcast. Instead of having an episode about sea lions where I get to talk to the incredible Delaney who can tell me about sea lions in general, and then I never talk about sea lions again, we can talk about Junior and Makara, right? And how one's better than the other. And we can talk, and then the next day I can do an interview from Aquarium of Niagara and I can talk about their sea lions, and they are totally different individuals, right? Same species, but totally different. And they have different training and different living conditions and different, you know, approaches to life, like as the sea lions, you know what I mean? And so it worked out really well. So you intrinsically understanding that you're building that connection with an individual animal and a person through the screen is going to make a huge impact on how you do this. And you've hit the nail right on the head there. And that's awesome.
Well, like Wouter says, it's all in the storytelling too. So by creating that story, creating the connection, you'll inspire guests. And that's the main goal, is to inspire and educate, the people who come to the zoo.
Yep.
That's why we have the animals in our zoo.
And the people who can't come to the zoo, because that's what social media does. And I love that so much, which is also why I get so mad when people put stupid comments on social media. We don't know what I'm talking about, and definitely don't have a fairly viral reel about that right now. Cough. But, whatever. It's fine. Everything's fine. The amount of support that I got from people, both at your facility and others, for that was
as you should.
Astonishing.
As you should.
Like, I just did it as a silly little post, and everyone was like, oh my God, thank you. And I was like,
you are the true heroes in the world, the ones who stand up for us, because it is so, and this is the thing. And I feel like I've learned this over time, is that, whether you believe, this is kind of getting into a different topic, but whether you believe in having animals under professional care or not, it all comes from the same place. And that's the care for animals, right? Everybody loves animals. We just love for them a little bit differently. And so when I see people's comments on either specific facilities or, for instance, dolphins at, aquariums, there's definitely it's mixed, between if people agree with it or if people don't. And the urge that I have to have so much self-control to not respond to these comments. And I want to so badly, but I know sometimes you just can't change somebody's opinion. And the goal behind the media, the social media that we get to do, is hopefully what we're doing can shift that perspective, because it shows how important our role is in animal conservation, in animal education, in, just the environments in general. And anyways, that I went on a whole different rant there, but
no, but I love that. That's great.
You are doing what I wish I could do, which is responding to those comments that drive me bonkers.
Yeah, I think it is a service that I offer in this community. I mean, I genuinely think of it as that. It's something I can do to help, but it's also, I have to be careful with my own mental health, because what I think so many people lose focus on social media is that there are real people on the other side of it. And that, if you put up a post saying that the sea lions under your care shouldn't be in human care and blah, 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 and you're a terrible person, to them, they're just attacking the screen, the void, saying their opinion into the world, right? But to you as a person who reads it, they're attacking you. And to me as a person who is your friend, they're attacking my friend. And they're attacking, even if they're people that I don't actually know, at a zoo that I haven't been to or whatever, but a good zoo that they're my friend by proxy, because I know y'all, and I know, I have held keepers as they cried because they lost an animal. And I have been a part of fighting to help keep animals alive, where people reach out to me because they can't figure out what's going on. And they're like, oh my God, you know about red pandas. Have you ever heard this? I'm reaching out to a podcast. I'm reaching out to a drummer, but I will do anything, and it's beautiful and scary and hard. And there's a reason that there's so much compassion fatigue in the industry. But it's so frustrating to me, because when I see that, I don't see them attacking Wildlife World Zoo or attacking the zoological industry. I see them coming after Delaney. I see them coming after Danny. I see them coming after, when they talk about vet stuff, Zoe, my wife, right? And being, costs or blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, because you can insult me as much as you want. And you do personally, but people can insult me as much as they want. And I don't care. But if you come after my friends, if you come after something I'm passionate about, we got a problem. I've always been that way. The only time I was ever in fist fights, and it was when I was young and things were, out of control, but they were started when other people started beating up one of my friends. And then I went from Mr. Pacifist dude to the wrestler jumping across the table and ready to kill. Because, you don't punch my friend. If you punch me, whatever, I can step back and try and calm down the situation. But you don't punch my friend. That's just how I am.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we appreciate that, because, and, you're standing up for, I don't want to say the little guys, because we're not a little guy. We're a huge facility, a lot of animals. But you are standing up for your friends and the people you care about and the industry that you care about. I mean, that's what this podcast is about. Yeah. So it's funny, and I appreciate it, because I love that you're talking about the support that you got from your individual post about it too, because it is what everybody in this industry wants to do, but can't do.
Yes.
And you are doing what we can't do.
I can. Yes. It's amazing. And I'm sure someday the retaliation will be swift and all, I mean, I've told you, there was one time I had to call the cops because of a death threat, just because I played drums with an elephant. People are crazy, but overall I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, and y'all are doing what I believe in. So is there anything else that you want to say about this new role or Wildlife World Zoo or your team or anything?
I'm really excited for this new role. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I feel like it's pulling me into a whole different realm. And this is off topic and kind of off podcast, but the thing I wanted to tell you, by the way, when I was texting you earlier, I'm currently getting my master's at ASU in an online program through the Coastal and Marine Science and Management degree at ASU. So I'm still able to work full time, do what I love, and get an extra education. And so long story short, I had a friend who worked for ASU's marketing program with this degree. She no longer works there, but she told them about me, about being in the state of Arizona, in a landlocked state, working with marine mammals and promoting ocean conservation. And they were like, we need her to be the face of our program. Like, she needs to be we need to do a docuseries on her to get people to apply to this program.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a whole production. Like, they came out to the zoo twice. They filmed so much with the animals, without the animals, of me doing just a day-to-day basis, me interacting with the public. They came to my house to watch me, to film me studying. They brought me to the desert and filmed some stuff at sunset with me. Like I said, it was a whole production.
Oh my God.
But the main point of that was that is why I do what I do, is seeing people connect with these animals. And I feel like I've said it already so many times just on this podcast alone, but seeing people connect with these animals is genuinely so important, because when you get people who connect with these animals, connect with their wild counterparts, think about how what we're doing affects them, it creates that want to change. And you get people who want to make an effort and, reduce, reuse, recycle, or eat sustainable seafood. Even here in Arizona, a lot of people don't realize that what we do here in Arizona, affects the ocean out in the wild. And not saying, and this is me going on an ocean spiel, I work with marine mammals, but the reason I'm getting my master's in ocean science. So that's kind of where all of this came from. But long story short, it has been a lot of fun to be able to essentially promote exactly why I love my job. And that's what I'm doing, is through the connection with the audience and through the connection with our guests. And I'm going to, we'll have to show you the video or send you the video, but I got sent a TikTok from somebody, and it was a video of a girl crying at a sea lion presentation. And it was our sea lion presentation. And she was crying because she was so excited and so happy to see Junior in the video.
Yes!
And it's like, and it's like those moments that make us keepers and trainers know that what we're doing is 100% worth it. And I responded to her comment and I said, thank you so much for coming to our presentation. Like, seeing your reaction and the way you are, so emotionally connected to Junior is exactly why we do what we do. And the amount of positive feedback I had got just from that comment, I didn't even reply. Like, I didn't make a post myself. I just replied to the comment. I got like 800 likes just on that comment. And it's like, it's cool to see that people like want, like they appreciate the people who do what they do for the animals, for the interactions. And it's like cool to see that the actual impact that we're able to do to people and to the species. So sorry, that was a whole nother tangent, but there's just a lot of, so I've been a part of a lot of social media in the past 3 months. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it, like I said earlier, a lot more than I thought I would.
That's awesome. I'm really glad. Is there a conservation organization you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, of course, the Monterey Bay Seafood Watch program. Yep. Always. That is our number one supporter at the zoo, or number one thing that we promote, we support is Seafood Watch, because we are in a landlocked state. So there's not, a lot of people can reduce, reuse, recycle. That's another easy step. But a lot of people eat seafood here in Arizona. So by eating sustainable seafood, not only does it help wild California sea lions, but it also helps all the animals that live out in the ocean. So yes, Seafood Watch. Absolutely.
Excellent.
It's time now, don't you know? We've come to the end of the show, but there's one tale left to go. You're gonna laugh and say, oh no. It's time for the Rossifari poop story.
Okay, so this is a poop story not in regards to my work, but more in regards to my personal life. So my family just welcomed in 2 husky puppies. Yes, I'll have to show you them before we get off of this call.
How do I not know this? Where is your social media post about this? Come on.
I know. I haven't had a chance to post them yet.
So mad at you right now.
But they're just the cutest things ever. But with that being said, they are still acclimating to coming to a home with another dog, because we have another husky, and so their tummies, they come, they're a little upset. They're a little stressed out. So their poops aren't necessarily the best. And I think it was night 2, we are, I feel like a lot of trainers say this, but they train at work and they don't necessarily train their dogs at home. Yeah. But I told my mom, I said, Mom, don't worry. With 2 puppies, I will help you with training. I will help you sit down. I will help crate train them. I will help make sure they don't pull on walks. Like, I will do my best to help in this realm. And so we wanted to start with crate training, because we wanted to keep them downstairs. Puppies pee and poop every two hours. So we were going to be up nonstop with them. And, there's a whole nother side of this where people are concerned about something called littermate syndrome. And essentially what I've learned from the internet is that to prevent it, you just have to keep them, essentially do everything separate with them. So walk them separately, play with them separately, feed them separately, crate them separately, all that regards. So my thought was, let's start this from the beginning. And I feel like there's so much to this, because the backstory here as to how we ended up with 2 puppies is the guy we were getting them from said that he was really attached to his sister. And so he pulled a 2 for 1, but he was like, you have to get them both. He's really attached to his sister. And of course, we're like, she was the last one in the litter. We can't say no. So we, of course, ended up getting 2 of them. We were only supposed to get 1 of them. But we wanted to kind of start the prep to avoid littermate syndrome early on. And so we're like, we got 2 crates. We're going to crate them separately. At their old home with Mom, they were in a playpen. Were kept together. Now, the thing is they're not attached to each other. The girl, Evie is her name, is fantastic in her crate, hangs out just fine. She goes in, she falls asleep. You can close the crate. We'll whine when she needs to go to the bathroom. As soon as you put Otto, the boy puppy in, the world is ending. It's ending. And there's nothing you can do. He's just going to keep screaming. And we've tried to, put his food in there, put a cover over it, and nothing's really helping, right? So with him crying and whining, it causes Evie a little bit more stress. And she got explosive diarrhea. Explosive, straight, as vocal as it can be. That's how it was. And poor girl was having a night. And the first night that I stayed up with them, because my family and I have been kind of swapping between shifts, taking care of them. And the first night that I stayed up with them, they both slept on and off in their own separate crates. And I let her out to go to the bathroom, and it was, I don't know how that sound came from that small of a puppy. That's all I have to say. But they're doing great now. We're still working through how we're ending up going to sleep them, because the crate training isn't going as planned, and I think it's more stressful for him than anything else. So we're trying to figure out where we want to go from here. But they're both fantastic puppies. Have both fallen in the pool already. Both know how to swim. They haven't learned their lessons. They keep falling in the pool. But they're both angels, both sweethearts. And I'm very excited to watch them grow up. So
That's awesome.
That's my poop story. Just some explosive diarrhea this week. That's all. Not
Lovely.
for me.
Not from you.
Me.
Not from you.
My puppies.
Right? That's lovely. You know, I know that you're the expert in training, but if I may offer a suggestion.
Yes, I will take any suggestion,
You
please.
said that Otto is the more stressed one, right?
Yes.
And that's the male. Maybe it's because he knows that he should be named after the best sea lion, Junior. So if you changed his name to Junior, then he would stop being so stressed. Just a suggestion.
Oh, that's a great suggestion. I might have to take you up on that one.
Thanks for doing
Just
this,
kidding.
Delaney. Yeah, no, of course, you would go for
Otto
Mac.
forever. Of course. Of course.
Thank you, my friend. This was fun.
Yes, this is a lot of fun. Well, thank you for having me. I had a good time chatting with you, and I can't wait to, I don't know where I was going with that, but I had a great time chatting with you.
You see, that right there is the problem with being my friend on this podcast. If you end it like that, I'm going to leave it in. But I'm so thankful to Delaney for being a part of this conversation, for sharing her insight, and for letting me, drop a little blooper in at the end. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that one. Make sure you're following at Wildlife World Zoo on the socials so that you can see Delaney doing her thing, and also so that you can see lots of videos of the best sea lion ever, Junior, and then the way less good one, Makara. And there are other ones. It's always such a pleasure, though, to have any representation from Wildlife World Zoo. Love them so much. Also, if somehow you're living under a rock and you haven't seen this, they have a baby pygmy hippo named Jellybean right now. And yes, just very much yes. So that's it for this week. We'll be back on Friday, possibly a Zoo News episode, most likely a recap episode for the ABMA IAATE Joint Conference that I'm currently attending in Cincinnati. But before we go, I do want to take a moment to say thank you to my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Shank, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, who is also here for stickers, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. Meow. And I'd like to remind y'all that the word credits backwards is Steiderk. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.